Doc said he was disappointed in his fans with the way that they greeted you. Just how do you feel about your reception today?
It was disheartening, man. It was frustrating. You give 10 years of your life, your blood, your sweat, your tears. You take pay cuts. You survive trade rumors. You try to do everything the right way, and then sometimes not enough stuff shakes out. It's cool. I take it on the chin. I think a lot of people will say I said things, but I think a lot of people want to formulate their own narratives and spin it to whatever they want it to be. But it is what it is, man. Like I say, you take it on the chin, you just move on.
Uh, how how cool was it for you that like every person we've talked to in this locker room was like, we're gonna win this for Miles?
Man, that means everything to me, man. Just coming into an environment on unforeseen territory for me. And, I say, the guys told me, a couple of days ago before this even starts, that we got you, we got you. I think that there's obviously a big rivalry between these two teams. And, I wasn't the only reason they wanted to win the game, but, a big reason.
How did you just feel coming out of that first quarter as you get 4 blocks, 7 points? Like, did you try to use that channel that energy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, bro. I always play my best basketball when people are talking against me, booing me, saying less, or, just, coming at me at that. And it woke me up, if anything. And again, you have to channel that energy, that negative energy, turn it to a positive. But again, I know what it is every time I come back here to Gamebridge, and I'm excited for the future, to say the least.
Just your vantage point of the GA's game winner.
Oh, man, no, I think that he had obviously height advantage and whatnot, and then I knew that Isaiah Jackson was going to go double, so I was able to cut. And he was even telling me after the game, like I saw it the last second, went to pass it, but he made an incredible play, and I think that again it just comes from knowing tendencies and someone like him. I don't think the Pacers were expecting to make that shot. I think it's a shot they probably would have lived with, but we'll take that anytime.
What's the degree of difficulty of that shot?
Oh, I think he spent over his left shoulder for a right-hander. That's with two guys on him, it's a tough shot, it's a tough look, but you live with the results, especially with the game tied like that. Put the ball in your best player's hand and, go be great.
After the game, we saw you hugging, sharing a little moment with a couple of your teammates. And did you get a chance to really interact much with them? Kind of what was it like to be able to talk to some of them at the end of the game?
Before the game, I went back to the locker room, said what's up. It's very rare that, for me, when I was here, I've had the same strength coach, same medical staff, same equipment managers since my rookie year, on. So I want to make sure, when I'm back there, show love to all my peoples, all my guys in the organization. Regardless of how the fan feels, I think I take care of, the people that took care of me. So went back, said what's up to them, saw a couple of my teammates beforehand, or my ex-teammates beforehand, and was able to obviously, shake up them after the game.
And Kuzma said the hardest part about being playing against your former team is just the human element of it. Just what's it like being, in the visiting locker room, the visiting shower, just like everything just might seem a little different.
I was saying before the game, I've never seen this locker room before, which sucks, man. Damn, they got some work to do back here. But we had a mouse run through here. The showers is flooded, man. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. But it is. There is definitely a huge human element to this thing that people just are never going to be able to understand. It's just again, I was here when I was 19 years old. I grew up here. It's all I've ever known. So to come back to a place with just nothing but hate and booze, it's tough. But the real ones know what's up. And I think there's plenty of people who are appreciative of what I've done for the city, what I've done for the organization, and what I've done around here in this city.
And what would you say to that fan that maybe doesn't understand the business side, that may take it personal? Just how do you feel about that person who maybe turned their back on you?
Yeah, do your research. I think that's all it is. I think that people like clickbaits, obviously clip farming and whatnot, or just quick headlines and whatnot, as opposed to understanding the whole dynamics of the story. You know what I mean? I gave everything to the space, and even with my free agency experience, I gave myself, to this side of things as well. So I think you're going to hear a lot of false, narratives, a lot of false things when it comes to my free agency and what happened here. But it's shaking out now. All that's behind me, and I'm in a good spot and where I'm supposed to be.
What were the emotions like when the tribute video was playing?
Well, I was getting booed. I don't know. I don't really know how you want me to shake it out for you there. I think, for me, it was a mix of emotions. Obviously, trying to sit there and just kind of enjoy just a nice gesture, by the organization to play the tribute video, but also just kind of sitting there trying to collect my thoughts. You know what I mean? Obviously, the main goal is to go out there and win a game, but this is the first time I've been in a situation like this. You know what I mean? And having met with boos, like I said, it's tough. But again, I'll say it over and over again. I take it on the chin, just like I've taken everything else on the chin since I've been here. So yeah.
Myles, what did you learn about yourself today?
Man, I learned that, for me personally, what it means to be a professional in this league, what I've always known. I think I'm going to handle it the same way I've always handled it. And I've learned that, we're back to rivalry basketball. I think it's a fun space to be in. Antics are antics, but when it comes to the game, when it comes to the emotion of the game, that's where you have to lose yourself, and that's what I was able to do tonight.
You mentioned it briefly, but what does it mean to you that your former teammates still give you that respect and show you that love?
It's very validating knowing that, the things that I did here, left impressions. There's plenty of guys in that locker room that, they were young, when I first got here. Now, they're grown. They're in the middle of their, their careers and whatnot. So I think the people in that locker room know who I am as a person, know what I stand for, and, know just how I rock in this league especially. So, that's all that really matters. It's always, I think it's all love at the end of the day. There's plenty of guys that, show love too, but we're rivals now, So outside of the basketball is one thing, but when it comes between them lines, it is what it is now.